On this episode, we're talking all about how she became mom and I became mama. We're talking about how we chose the kids' names between 4 people. And we're talking about our birth stories. So I think last time we had talked a little bit about getting pregnant and how we had made that decision. And then it happened real fast.
Yeah. And so we had to make a lot of decisions and have a lot of those tough conversations really quickly too.
And I don't know if you guys know this, but there is not a lot of direction. There's not a lot of blueprints for polyamory or polyamorous families. So we went from, can we even do this? Can we exist together? Can we love more than one person? To, can we have a family? Can we raise kids with 4 parents? Can we exist in this space that feels super comfortable behind closed doors, but out in society, we don't know.
Yeah, how are people going to react and accept our blended family now? Because it's one thing to have kids going into the relationship, but now how is it going to look when you have kids together?
Right. So we talked a little bit in the last episode about how we talk to the kids about polyamory and relationship dynamics and how to make those conversations age appropriate.
Yeah, we've definitely talked about how to make those conversations age appropriate and what it looks like to have extra parents and to love differently. And now we're introducing the idea of what does it look like to have little siblings?
Yeah. So one of the big things that we talked about was we want to raise these kids together. So after Alicia was pregnant, we all sat down and we had a discussion about parental names. And we decided to just listen for a couple weeks to Dylan and Raina and see what parental names they used the most with Tyler and Alicia.
And it turns out, because I had no idea which ones that they used the most with us. And the kids were 5 and 6 when I got pregnant. So after listening to them for a couple of weeks, we realized that they most commonly referred to me as mom and to Tyler as dad.
Yeah. Every once in a while, there's a little bit of overlap, but we felt like we could confidently say, hey, we'd like you to make your best effort to use mom and dad because we're going to use some alternative parental names for the new baby. Because it was just Barrett at the time. And you do not have to use these parental names, but we're going to use them and we'd appreciate you using them with your sibling. So we took inspiration from like same-sex relationships, same-sex parents, and we looked at how they do it, which is like a lot of times you'll have a mom and a mama or a dad and a daddy.
Or mom and a momo, or, just,
yeah,
it could be anything.
Yeah, so we talked about kind of our idea was for Alicia to be mom or mommy, and then I could be mama, Tyler could be dad or dada, and Sean could be daddy. And those seem like kind of the most generic names that we could relate to and make it feel somewhat normal for us. We also said that if they ended up using something else or ended up wanting to call us something else, we would be open to that. This was just kind of an outline, and it was fun. When it came to the babysitter. I'm not even trying to say babysitter. I was trying to say baby shower.
Oh.
Babyshitter. When we had Barrett's babysitter, we made... Hello, put a picture and actually do it this time, editor. It's me. I'm sorry. I'm doing my best. We created shirts that had our parental names on them for the first time, and it was really special. Like I said, Alicia did everything she could to involve us in the pregnancy, and it was just the first time that we got to show up for family and friends as a united front when it came to parenting the kids, and some people didn't like that too much, but it felt good for us.
And I'm not going to say that we're going to show all the pictures from this, but we are extra. And so at any chance we get, we make family shirts. And so we have used our parental names in almost every opportunity that we've had since then.
I think they're cute and I'm not sorry about it.
And I have a Cricut, so we can just make them ourselves.
But I know that you had some feelings about our parental names and hesitations around them.
I did. I had hesitations for Taya, and I had hesitations around the kids too, just because I didn't know how, I didn't want it to be, it was never going to be a consequence for the kids or anything like that, but I didn't want it to feel uncomfortable for them to be corrected, to be told like, oh, you can't call mom mama anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But it was very natural. It's a very easy way to just be like a gentle reminder. And if a child says mama, and be like, oh, mom.
Yeah, and we kind of framed it as a conversation with them. Like, is this okay with you? Is this going to feel good for you? You know, you are our priority here.
Mm-hmm. And my concern with Taya is like, I got sad because that's what I do. And I cried because I'm like, are you going to be okay with your child never calling you mom?
Yes.
And
she was like, but how?
How can you be okay with that?
I don't know. I just don't care.
Yeah. And again, I was pregnant hormonal and had a lot of emotions, but also I had been called mom. And so I'm just like, how could you be okay with your child never calling you mom? Yeah. Because I have experienced it twice and that's what they call you. But also they call you what they've learned to call you as well. So it's not something where it's like you have to be mom. Because like she said, we took inspiration from same-sex couples as well, where there are same-sex couples who have never been called mom and they are okay.
Yeah. I saw a video once saying like something, and I genuinely meant it. Like I genuinely, and it was tough to communicate because I understood that she was looking out for me and my emotions and not wanting to have to change things 6 months down the line. But I genuinely was like, no, I'm more than okay with mama. And if it morphs into something else, I'm more than okay with that. We need some tissues.
We do. I cry every episode.
Tissues next time. Remind us.
Where are Alicia's tissues?
But we
Kleenex, come on. This episode is brought to you by Kleenex.
That would be iconic.
This is so fun.
That would be amazing. I had seen a video kind of around this time where it was a dad saying like, I don't correct my kids if they call me by my first name. I don't find it to be disrespectful because what's disrespectful usually is tone and cadence and what they're using it for. And if they're doing it to be disrespectful, that's a pretty obvious thing. If they just do it because they hear everyone else calling you that, I mean, that's literally what everybody else calls us. Like, how could we be offended by them calling us by their first name? And that has stuck with me. I mean, even 6 years later, right? And I genuinely believe that. My reaction, my heart, my love for the kids, it doesn't change when Dylan calls me Taya versus when Raina calls me mama, or the little boys call me mama. To me, it's a title, it's a nickname, it doesn't equate to their love for me. So, and I felt that then too. And I know it was hard to say for sure because I hadn't had biological children, and there is a difference. I mean, and we'll talk about that a little bit and how we navigated that with the little boys. But I felt very, as long as I had a parental name, I felt good about that.
And have our little boys called our names interchangeably? Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Do we take offense by it? No.
No.
Because do they know how to say mama and mom at a young age? No. Most of the time they just say ma.
Yeah.
And we both answer.
To Quentin, we're both ma. And both the guys are da.
Yeah.
And it was the same for the little boys when they were younger.
I think it's adorable when little kids call their mom or their dad by the pet name from their partner. Yeah. Like if they call their mom babe.
Yes.
I think that's adorable.
I know.
I was actually talking to somebody at a work meeting the other day that she is a bonus parent to some kids and they call her gorgeous. And she's like, I hope nobody corrects them their entire lives. I've been calling her gorgeous for 3 years. The oldest one's 8 years old.
Can you imagine it turns into like Gorgie or G or something and they're like, what does that stand for? Your name is like Sarah or something. Yeah. And she's like, oh, I used to be gorgeous. And
right. It's just and her co-parent, the biological mom, she doesn't correct them. They just call her gorgeous. And I'm like, I love that.
No, I need Kleenex.
That is the love and support I strive to see in a family.
That is so cute.
So cute. I love it so much. I wanted to cry as soon as she said it, and I'm in a work meeting. Gotta keep it together, Alicia.
All we do is take turns crying. I'll be crying about something stupid on the TV, and I'll look over, I'm like, why are you crying?
And then I cry about something else.
And I'm like, are you all right? It's like one or the other. It can't ever be at the same time.
And then there are those occasions where we're both crying, and then the guys are like, oh man, we're fucked.
Tyler cries a lot. Anyways.
Okay.
Do we have anything else on parental names?
I will say though that we gave the option to the big kids. We always told them, like, you do not have to call Taya and Sean by mama or daddy. Like, that's totally up to you. If you want to, you can. Raina decided on her own that she wanted to start calling them by the parental
in
names.
this house, right?
Yeah.
Like it was she went a while calling us by our first names, and then
I think she just decided it's easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Dylan and her both have always been very, very good about referring to you guys, to the kids, by your parental names. And we're so respectful and so understanding of that because we wanted to teach the little kids about those parental names from the very beginning. And they have been wonderful about it. And it does not, I mean, it doesn't take anything away from them. And it just only adds to the love and respect that I feel like they have towards you guys as parental figures, not only to them, but to the kids as well.
Because just because Dylan calls me something else doesn't mean he also doesn't see me as a parent. He absolutely treats me that way. So he's not like, go see your mama.
Right.
He's like, go see mama. Like,
exactly.
It's just a difference in how he refers to me, but it has nothing to do with our actual relationship. And I think that's why I feel the security that I do, because he's never used my name in a way that feels like he wants to keep me in my place. You know, that's not what it is at all. We all have very unique relationships with each of the kids, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah.
The other thing is, our poor families.
They try
so hard to remember. We do not necessarily correct people every time. I very recently, like 2 weeks ago, took Raina to the doctor. Everything was your mom, your mom, your mom. About me. Bring your mom, tell your mom this, and I didn't correct her because it doesn't matter. Our families, sometimes they'll be like, go see mama. And then look at you.
You got it right.
You got it right. Or it'll be like, mom, go see mom. My grandma tries so hard.
She's so cute.
She does. Some people are very, like, we just went and had our pictures done with Ashley. If you don't know who that is, and please go look at the pictures we had done, and she's so amazing. I'm obsessed. We love Ashley. Ashley, I didn't say this to you, but if you're listening, I could tell that she went out of her way to make sure she was using our correct parental names. And although it doesn't offend me when people don't do that, I noticed. And it's just so special whenever anybody goes out of their way to make us feel like normal and acknowledged as parents and things like that. It was just the most recent example where I was like, wow. Unless you have a really good memory, you studied that shit. Like it's hard to keep track of. I mean,
we know it's not intentional, so there's not really a reason to correct it. If they ask for the reassurance, then they'll be like, did I get that right? Wait, are you mama or mom? And then I'll be like, no, I'm mom, Taya's mama. And then we'll move forward with that. But beyond that, I know it's not intentional, so there's not really a reason to sit there and correct it.
Yeah.
If somebody's being intentional about it and only referring to me as mom and says Taya about Taya, then I will correct you, because that's just...
We fighting.
That's rude. It doesn't happen often.
I don't know.
I mean, we've already removed those people from our lives.
Yeah, for real.
Okay.
Sometimes some random shit still happens with some people, and I'm like, how are we still doing this? How are we still dealing with people who are making this a problem? Like,
right.
This is old news, okay? Because they thought we were going to fizzle out, and here we are.
Yeah. How do we decide on names for kids? Because half the time, 2 parents can't decide on names. How do we decide with 4 parents?
Yeah.
And Barrett's name was interesting because I had an idea for what a name would be if it was a boy or if it was a girl, and the boy name just didn't quite feel right. The girl name didn't matter because we found out we were having a boy. Taya had already had her boy name picked out beforehand, and so when we found out that Barrett was a boy and we had not decided what the boy name was going to be yet, it was so funny because we were doing our gender reveal, and after we found out it was a boy, Sean just announced, because somebody, or a photographer, she's like, do you have a name picked out? And we're like, no, we're not sure yet. And Sean said, I've got his name. I think it's the one.
He was holding it. He was waiting to see if he was a boy.
Yeah. Oh, and so we asked him what it was, and he said it was Barrett, and
that it meant strength of a bear.
Strength of a bear. And my first pet name for Tyler was Bear because he's a gentle giant and he's huge, and so I just refer to him as a bear. And so I thought that was a really cute kind of like nod to that nickname for Tyler.
It was a really fun moment because we were all like, oh, is that it? That's it. And he said, and his initials would spell bear in a different format, but it would read bear. And so yeah,
and it could be shortened to Bear, just like such a cute nickname. And so, and we really we like unique names. And so it just was really meaningful in every capacity. And so it seemed really cool that every name that once we decided on a name, it fit. Every one of us was just like, yep, that's it.
Yeah. I had Carver picked out before I even met Sean. I was watching Wild with Reese Witherspoon, and in the very end, because it's based on a true story. So she's reading the actual diaries, if you've seen the movie, from the woman who hiked the Pacific Crest Trail. And so random, but she's like, one of the last lines, we went on to have a son and we named him Carver. And I was like, I have never heard that before. It's recognizable, but unique. I don't know what it is, but that is my son's name. It stuck with me forever. And then Sean was into it. And then everybody else was like, yeah, pop off, have your boy name. And his middle name is a family name too. So I had his first and middle name picked out forever. If he would have been a girl, it would have been a totally different conversation.
Yeah, it's almost a good thing that we didn't have any girls because that would have been interesting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like, if I were to just pop out a baby girl now, I feel pretty confident about the name, but we went through a lot.
Yeah.
And then with Quentin was difficult.
Yeah, we went through quite a few. Once we found Quentin, we're all just like, that's it. That's the name.
Yeah. 3 of us would really like one, and then one of us would be like, oh, I went to school with somebody named that, and they sucked, and then 2 of us would like it, and then the other person would be like, no, I don't. And so it was like, back to the drawing board. And none of us were really attached enough to, we would have, like, I got to use Carver, even though it wasn't everyone's favorite name in the world.
But we didn't have a second boy name. You didn't have a second boy name picked out already. So it was kind of like...
Well, Sean and I had a secondary boy name, but I don't think everybody liked it. And so we had to...
What was it?
We liked Ronan, and I liked Griffin. I think it was Tyler was looking up names that had to do with the number 5. He said Quentin means the 5th, and Quentin was going to be our 5th baby. And we were like, that's it. And then it fit perfectly on our Scrabble wall, and we knew it was meant to be.
Yes.
So he's Q, Quentin.
Yeah, once we figured out his name, we're just like, okay. And then we have so many nicknames for him. Like, we just kept going on that tangent. Like, it's perfect. It was perfect. And then I love that none of our kids have the same first initial. And it just, yeah.
The fact that he fit perfectly on our Scrabble wall going through 2 names, mind you. So it's very much, like, intertwined.
Do you need to show a picture of our Scrabble wall?
Editor. Barrett's birth.
We did talk last time a little bit about how we got pregnant in COVID times. So the whole process around getting pregnant, having appointments, and that whole process was different. It looked different during that time. And I specifically had never went through a journey with pregnancy in a birth center. I had only ever been in the hospital system before. But it being COVID times, you did not have the same flexibility in the hospital system for our unique family.
You're either going in alone or with one person for the special appointments.
And how do I choose one person to go with me when we're now a family of 4 adults that all want to be part of the process? And my initial thought was, I'm taking Teo with me for all of the appointments that I can have one additional person at. Unfortunately, that was 4 appointments for my entire pregnancy.
Yeah.
Which was really difficult. So I had to make the choice, and we had to make the choice. You know what? Maybe we should do a birth center route instead. And at the birth center, there weren't those same restrictions. We all got to be present for all of the appointments, which was great. The kids even got to be there. So it was really fun to include Dylan and Raina in part of that process too, and give them the option to potentially be there if they wanted to. Unfortunately, my body decided that it did not like being 35 weeks pregnant. I started getting signs of being preeclampsia. I had a lot of stressors in my life. and was having a hard time with my pregnancy. So I had high blood pressure and was no longer able to be at the birth center anymore. So at 35 weeks pregnant, we had to do a little switcheroo, and I ended up in the hospital system after all. So with that, I had my lovely birth advocate come with me to my appointments and advocate for me, because I was frustrated in the system because I could only have one person there, and now
we were devastated.
Yeah, because now I'm having to choose out of my 3 partners, which one partner was going to be able to be there with me for the birth. Fortunately, though, Taya was working at the birth center, had assisted in a lot of births, and you can have your one support person there plus a doula, a birth assistant. Taya got to come as my birth assistant, and then I had to, unfortunately, potentially have to pick in between the guys as to which was going to be my support person during the birth, which, again, devastating to think about when I wanted to have all of my partners there.
We ultimately decided that they would fight to the death, and then it wouldn't be a problem for whoever didn't get to go.
Yeah, it was totally fine. No, that's not how it happened. But I loved our birth team and all the nurses that were at the hospital, because we were there twice a week, because I had to do the non-stress tests and I had to do the fetal monitoring and all of those types of things because I was high risk. And turns out I ended up having to get induced early because my protein in my urine shot up, and so then they're like, oh yeah, by the way, you need to have this baby. And it just so happened that on the Friday before that I was going to be induced, the policy changed and I was allowed to have 2 support people plus my doula.
And
we had a team of people come in, like all the nurses.
So excited to tell us.
Yeah. So I got to have both the guys there and Taya for the birth.
They knew exactly who we were, and they were like, you can have 2 people. It was so sweet.
Like, all of the nurses came in to my non-stress tests, like, that were on shift that day. I think there was like 3 or 4 of them that came in, and they're like, oh, we were so excited to tell you the news. It was adorable.
So sweet. And then they were so awesome when we were there too.
Yes. And
so we all got to be there.
Yes. We all got to be there for the birth. And it was funny. Not funny. I thought it was funny. Taya probably didn't. We had just found out a few weeks prior to this that Taya was pregnant. Mm-hmm. So in between my contractions, she's throwing up.
Yeah. I was 7 weeks pregnant, and I kept running back and forth and being like, breathe.
And we had done my maternity pictures.
So sick.
Like the week before, because I have always went overdue with my babies. And so to have to be induced early was just not in my realm of possibilities. Why would I have to have a baby early? And so we had always pushed our bellies together. She'd always when we say goodnight every night, she would always push her belly against mine. And so we actually got to push our bellies together while pregnant for a maternity picture. It was so sweet. But during the birth process, it was so great having everybody there. They all got to be there during the labor.
And we ended up with a midwife.
Yeah, and we ended up with a midwife, which was great.
Who worked at the hospital.
Yes. And a lot of the things that I was nervous about being in the hospital system again, that I was looking forward to having at the birth center, and the differences in my deliveries of being at a hospital for my first 2 and then being in the birth center, I still got to do at the hospital for this delivery, which was really cool. It was my only unmedicated birth.
It was badass.
It was really cool.
It was badass. I will have you know. It was badass.
But the hard part with this, again, still being COVID time, is they could be there for the labor and the delivery, but they couldn't be there for the recovery. Mm-hmm. So after he was born, and this is also kind of interesting where we went into the process of whose night was it and who stays where, because we do alternate and take turns with what partner I'm with which night. And I didn't have him. If you know anything about induction and how long that process takes, you don't just go in there and have a baby the same day. Some people do. I do not. She does not. So I went in on April 1st, which Dylan was ecstatic about, because that was his prediction for when I was going to have Barrett, was going to be April 1st. I did not have him on April 1st. And that night, it would have been Sean's night with me. So he stayed with me in the hospital that night. So Taya and Tyler went home that night. And
because literally nothing had happened.
No, nothing. I had not had one contraction.
I tried the like uterine softening pill and that didn't do anything. And then they tried Pitocin and that was it, right?
Yeah. And that wasn't doing anything. It wasn't until the next day that I even had my water broke.
Yeah.
Like it was taking.
Once your water was broken, it was all.
Yeah. Like my water was broke at like 1:00 the next day, and I had him at midnight that night. So it took a while before anything was actually happening. But the next day when I actually had him, it would have been Tyler's night with me. So he stayed with me after his birth. And again, I really advocated for myself after his birth, because there's nothing saying you have to stay in the hospital. And I wanted to be home with my family. I wanted Dylan and Raina to meet the baby. I wanted all 4 of us parents to be able to take care of him together. And because
it was really hard to not be together.
Yeah, like you guys got to hold him for a few minutes each, but within an hour of delivery, they're being pushed out the door. And that's really hard. And so then I don't know how long they're going to keep me. I hemorrhaged after I had him, and it was...
After we left, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry, headphone users. I'm a yeller.
I'm calming Tyler down. I'm like laying there on the table, and he's holding Barrett, and he's just like, what do I do? What do I do? And I'm like, it's okay, I'm fine. Like,
not fine. Not fine.
They almost had to do an emergency hysterectomy.
Not fine. It was not fine.
I had fentanyl. I was good.
Mentally. Tyler's ghost white, just looking like he's gonna throw up. Sean and I are pacing holes in the floor at home. Just
it's like 3:00 in the morning, and they're like, "What are we supposed to do?" Because they can't.
I'm getting anxious thinking about it because it's my baby and it's you and we can't be there and nobody's can talk because it's fine, but like
and I'm just
oh my god,
bleeding.
I can't. I'm so stressed all over again just thinking about it.
Yeah,
she was totally fine when we left. And then right after, I think it was like right when we got home. Like
probably.
I might be remembering that wrong, but I feel like it was shortly after we got home. Tyler's like, she's hemorrhaging. And I was like, what? What do you mean? What's happening?
And I hemorrhaged after I had Raina, and I thought it was a completely fluke thing. So even though we had talked about it quite a bit during my pregnancy with Barrett, I didn't expect for it to happen again. None of the doctors expected it to happen again. And so then when it did,
worse.
Way worse. It caught a lot of us off guard. So the midwife was there, the regular OB was there too. And so they were, a team of people came in to work on me, and they got the bleeding under control. I didn't have to have emergency surgery or anything like that. But then the next day, they weren't sure if they were when they were going to release me, because they had to check my blood levels, figure out if I needed to have an infusion, all of that. But they checked my blood levels.
Transfusion?
Yes, transfusion. That's the right word. So I found out that I didn't have to have a transfusion. Apparently, I have a lot of blood. They said that there's people that have lost half as much blood as me that have needed a transfusion, and I was fine. So I'm like, do I really need to stay here? Can I just go home? And so they're like, are you sure you want to go home? I'm like, yes, I have 2 extra people at home. I don't need. It was nice the first 2 times when, it was just Tyler and I, and you only have a 2-parent household and you're tired and you have a brand new baby. Having 4 people definitely makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
So I had him at midnight and we were home by 5:00.
Mm-hmm.
We got takeout on the way home and we went home.
Originally, we had planned on me helping with the night rotations too, but because I was pregnant and sick and tired and miserable already, I stepped back from that.
Yeah, I'm just like, girl, like you need to rest already.
And I was with Barrett during the day
too,
so I got that time with him.
Yeah, and also like I was gonna be getting up to pump already is one thing. Like when you have a newborn, it's just so much easier, as I'm sure probably a lot of people know, just to get up and feed the baby. As much as it is nice to have a few nights of not having to get up as often to do that. We figured out our system. We adjusted to life with having a newborn. and what that rotation looked like and how we were all able to get those newborn snuggles and adjusting to that life while Taya was ridiculously sick for the whole time. And I went back to work about part-time after 12 weeks, and then I did another 12 weeks at home, and then I went back to work full-time. So then Taya got to fulfill her role as the stay-at-home mom while also being sick. I was home for 4 months.
Yeah.
Full-time for 2 months, and then 2 months I was part-time. You were able to ease into it.
Yeah. I loved my time with Bear, though. It was like 3 months, I think, and it was just special. I look back on it fondly.
Yeah. I remember you sending us messages or sending us snaps of Barrett in his bumbo sitting in the bathroom while you're puking.
That sounds right. That sounds right. But we had fun. We took naps together. Okay, well, you already know I was pregnant. As soon as I found out I was pregnant, we packed up the car and drove to Portland to tell my mom.
Forgot about that.
It was a Sunday, and I was like, I don't know when I'm going to see her next, and I don't want this to be a phone call. And so everyone's like, let's get in the car.
Yeah.
Let's go. And then we didn't tell her. We just showed up, and I handed her my pee stick. It was great. We planned on a home birth for me because, well, I was familiar with the birth center. I wanted to try and have an unmedicated birth because that was my preference. And I had seen a lot of women do it and supported and assisted through that process and just thought it was incredible. I never get tired of birth work. I am a complete birth nerd and will always have a special place in my heart for it because it is so powerful. Like, it's like you're there for like the most powerful thing that ever happens to somebody, or one of the most powerful things that ever happens, the most power they're ever going to feel. Like, it's just incredible. I will never get enough. But I wanted to try home birth mostly because home is my safe space. Like, that's where I'm most comfortable. And I figured if I want my body to be able to relax completely, then home is where I want to be. And I was going through the birth center, and I had a midwife who was also my friend, and she would come to our home and do appointments, and it was really, really nice. I also had to go to maternal fetal medicine and see specialty doctors. I was on 3 different medications. So I was on antidepressants and also anti-anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to monitor me because if you've been on medications and gotten pregnant, it's not always the safest thing to stop those medications. They wanted me to continue them to continue my mental health being stable. And so they monitored me, and I got to do some ultrasounds that way, and everything looked great.
And I got to go to one of those ultrasounds with you. I'm down at the internal fetal medicine clinic, and so I got to go to some of those appointments as well.
Yeah,
which was special.
When did we put the house up?
Oh, it was September. You had them in November.
Why did we do that?
Because I have this bad habit of looking at emails that show houses for sale, and I just so happened to see a house that was for sale that was perfect for us.
It's the one we're in now.
Yeah.
So we saw this, Alicia saw this house, sent it to everybody. It was way out of our budget. We weren't really looking to move. All the things. We were anticipating that little boys would share a room, like we had enough space, all the things, but we saw this house and we're like, it's got 2 primaries, it has land, it has barn, it has, like, it is perfect.
It was more set up for the horses, further away from the road. Like, checked every single box that we had.
It has a basketball court.
It checked boxes we didn't know that we had.
Right. And it has tall people counters. It has so we came to see it thinking that, okay, maybe it'll be less desirable in the photo than in the photos. No, we fell in love with them.
Mm-hmm. It had tall people showers.
It was literally perfect. Yep. And we kept going down the road just like, okay, well, maybe we'll see if we can, maybe we'll see what a loan looks like. And then maybe we'll see if we can afford it. Maybe we'll see. And then all of a sudden we all of a sudden
the next day
we put in an offer, and all of a sudden I was 9 months pregnant and we were moving and putting our house on the market. And so
Yeah.
We ended up moving when Carver was 2 weeks old, which was rough.
And you had him early too. So like we would have been moving like right at your due date.
Yeah. So I was like 37 weeks and some change. I had been sick my entire pregnancy. I went to an event with Sean. We were there. He was working. I was sitting, dying. And I just remember I had been throwing up and like been sick and stuff, but this was like, I was not okay. Like I was dizzy. I couldn't stop throwing up. I could barely stand up straight. And so I thought I was like getting the flu or something. And so I went home and I took a nap and I said, if I don't feel better when I wake up, we'll go in. And because I didn't have any kind of nausea medication or anything, even though I'd been sick the entire time. So I was like, okay, screw it. I'm finally going to cave and go get some Zofran. So we went into labor and delivery to get checked out and see if I could get some meds for my nausea. And Sean took me in that night and they took my blood pressure. And then all of a sudden there were 15 nurses around and they were telling me I was about to have a stroke and everything was happening so fast and they stabbed me 15 times with IVs and I just completely disassociated and was frozen in fear, and they were calling an ambulance to ship me to a hospital with a NICU. It was a little traumatic. I just completely shut down. I just remember hearing wah, 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 wah. Like I just was like, whew. And Sean and I got a minute alone at some point, and I remember being like, they're talking around me. Nobody's telling me anything before it happens. And I just was like freaking out because nobody was talking to me. And I went from being at a birth center as trauma informed and kind and asked, not that they're not kind, but like ask permission for everything they do and is like very, very informed in terms of wanting you to be informed, to going to a hospital and being in an emergency situation and them just acting, right? And they're just trying to save me and my baby. But I was first time mom, first time baby, I just was terrified.
The exact opposite of what you had planned and wanted for your entire life.
Couldn't have been more opposite. So they're like, you're not leaving until you have this baby. Like you're going to a hospital to have this baby right now. And Sean called them. I don't know. You're going to have to speak to that.
Oh my gosh. It was so funny.
So they tried to ship me over to Eugene because they have a better NICU. That NICU is full. So then we ended up going to Corvallis, which is like 45 minutes away, and where we ended up having Quentin too. Planned to be there this time. But Sean called them. I think probably asked you to pack a bag, right? Because I was not prepared.
He didn't ask me to pack a bag. As soon as he had sent a text and said like, this is what her blood pressure was, they had mentioned that they said what your blood pressure was and that you were being admitted. And I'm like, oh, okay, she's not going to be leaving without a baby. I said that before. They had said that before they were going to be transferring you or anything. So I'm like, okay, this is, if your blood pressure is that high, you're preeclamptic.
And he's 37 and some change.
Yeah, there's no way that you're leaving without a baby. Got it. I know your bag's not packed. Tyler's completely panicking at this time. And so I'm like, okay, so we're gonna pack her bags now. She loves her robes, so let's get that. And she's gotten these different supplies to prepare for her home birth. So we're gonna put these in there. And so I'm helping Tyler pack a bag, and he's like, what do I do? And I'm like, you're gonna take this to the hospital.
Because there's no way I was answering any questions.
No.
Don't talk to me right now. I can't. I don't think I spoke the rest of the evening.
Yeah, I way overpacked your bag because I'm like, I don't know exactly what you want, but we're just going to throw everything in here.
I honestly was so sick that entire time that I don't think I even knew.
No. And it's not like you had a bag packed because you're planning on having a home birth. So why would you have a bag packed?
Right.
So we're just packing anything and everything that I could think that you might potentially want for a hospital birth because you weren't prepared for a hospital birth. So we're packing everything. And Tyler's like, do I go? Like, are they going to let me into the hospital? I'm like, I don't know, but I know that you're going to feel better if you're there. So pack the bag, take it there. Like, if you need to follow behind in the ambulance, then do that. Like, but I'm fine here with the kids and you'll feel better if you're there. So get out. Kicked him out of the house.
Yeah.
And they let him in because you can have 2 support people.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I know you'll feel better if you're there. So that was what we did at home.
I don't think I had my phone. I was just so checked out.
I don't even remember you coming home and napping. I thought you went straight to the hospital from there because you were so sick that you were just like, I just need to go get some Zofran, and like, I'll get some Zofran and then I'll come home and nap. And I thought you went straight there because you were so sick. I just remember you saying that you were throwing up because you were at the basketball thing and you were at the high school, and you're like, basketball or high school bathrooms are so loud and I can just hear my vomit, like, or my puking echoing down the hallway.
Yeah. Yeah. That was happening. I remember that now. Like, I remember holding myself up on the stall walls, just like, no, I was not well.
And no offense or anything, but you're a loud puker. And so
I can't control that.
Yeah, I mean, like, people can't. And so it's just like, just the echoing of it. I just imagine how loud it was.
So embarrassing. I'm probably peeing my pants too every time.
We all do it.
I remember getting to the hospital. I remember my mom coming at some point who acted as my birth.
Yeah, because she was a nurse.
Because she was a nurse, so she got away with, they were like, low key, like, just say she's a doula.
I think I asked that question of like, you're allowed to have a birth assistant there. And I'm like, could your mom act as that? Because she's a nurse and she's been at births before. She's done her time in the labor and delivery. So
right. And so they did allow it.
Which I was very happy that she got to be there for you.
Yeah. But Alicia didn't, which made things really, really hard. I remember getting to the hospital. I remember the midwives and doctors, like midwife and OB coming to talk to me. And I remember just like grunting at them. I still feel bad about that. I just was so devastated and so sick. My head hurt so bad I couldn't open my eyes. Like, it was preeclampsia so bad. Out of nowhere. Like, I woke up that day and my blood pressure was through the roof. And
which makes sense because that's what they had told me, that if you had any like sudden headache or sudden change in your body or anything like that, that's all the symptoms that they told me to look out for.
Right.
But we didn't know you were that close to those same.
Well, usually it comes on really quickly. Yours was way different where it was like, oh, there's a little bit of protein in your urine, so we're going to keep an eye on it. And then your blood pressure was just creeping up and up and up. Where mine was, I woke up one day and was so sick.
Yeah.
I ended up trying. They tried to induce me. I don't really remember a lot, to be honest with you. And ended up in a C-section the next day.
2 days later. You went in on Saturday. You didn't have until Monday.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
It was a lot. It's not my favorite story ever. They played music, so that was nice. And both Sean and Tyler got to be in the OR, but my mom did not, which is totally fine. She waited outside. But it was really, really hard because obviously Alicia didn't get to meet him because Carver, so he was born and then we ended up having to stay 1 or 2 extra days?
2 days.
2 extra days.
The guys got to FaceTime in the OR.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I did get to see him born.
That's right. They FaceTimed in the OR
With
and Alicia and my grandparents got to be on the call, which was really, really cool. They were so sweet. Like, they tried to be as accommodating as possible, but they just couldn't allow another person in. But that made it really, really hard because then she didn't get to meet him until he was 3 days old because he ended up needing to be under the lights and his bilirubin was high and all this stuff. So it was really hard because the hospital was completely locked down because they had more cases of COVID and
it was coming into flu season because he was born in November. And so, it was just a little bit stricter of a time frame then.
And it was hard too because when the toddlers were born, them being 7 months apart, Barrett was glued to her and Carver was glued to me. So our experience in having Carver and Barrett and how they connected with us is so different than how Quentin has connected with us. And like now it's more fluid, but then it was like we're both breastfeeding at the same time and they're very physically connected to us. And so they're very codependent when it comes to, not that I don't feel loved by Barrett, not that he doesn't see me as a mom, but like Alicia's his person. And I know a lot of people have a hard time understanding that, but like, it doesn't take anything away from me. I don't know.
Yeah. And I had a harder time connecting with Carver because I was back at work full time. And so I wasn't there during the day. And
we also had Barrett. And I had an infection when my C-section was healing.
And we had just moved.
All I know is that Barrett loves me and...
I had a harder time at first being able to connect with Carver. But as he's gotten older, as he's been able to talk more and communicate and stuff, my bond with him has just developed in a different way. But I don't feel any less love from him. Of course, I don't have any less love for him. I don't have any less love, feeling less love from him at all whatsoever. I know that I am his mom and he treats me as his mom. And
he still chooses you over the dads 10 out of 10.
I was just going to say, if mama's not around, I'm next best. So screw them
Sometimes
dads.
it's daddy, but
if he's being made to choose sometimes, I get selected.
you get plenty of love.
I do.
Carver will suffocate me. Barrett will suffocate you.
Yes.
Switched, they're like normally attached.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. They're anxiously attached when it comes to their biological moms. I think because of the breastfeeding and the physical and like getting up with them at night and stuff, because we were so separate. With Quentin, interchangeably, he wishes we could hold him at the same time.
Absolutely.
He's like, you are one mom. I do not care.
Yes.
Sometimes he has a preference, but I think it's just based on what we have or whatever. I am chopped liver sometimes to Quentin. That is her baby.
And vice versa too. It just depends on the day and the mood
it
he's
really
in.
does. But it genuinely brings me joy when I'm chopped liver. One, because it's a break, and two, because it's cool to see it. I love how interchangeable. He will literally come to my arms and then be like, "What? Oh, I wanted you to hold me," and then go back to her and then be like, "But."
He'll be hugging her and then look over at me and like want to stay like legs attached to her and turn around and be hugging on me at the same time. He's like, okay, this works for me. I want this both at the same time. But I think it's interesting with Barrett and Carver though, because like it's almost like Barrett wants to like extra attach himself to me if he sees you're getting the attention from Carver, where he's just like, oh, I will show you how much attention I can get from mom at the same time. And it's like almost like a competition. They want to like one up each other. And I'm like,
fair.
Boys,
they feed off of each other.
Boys, this is unnecessary.
Yes. Yeah. Obviously they're 7 months apart, so they've spent every minute of every day together. And Barrett has to be doing everything Carver is doing. It does not go the other way.
Carver can care less.
Carver's like, okay, bro, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Next time, we will be getting into how we protect our family, paperwork we've done, decisions we've made, legal stuff, both what we plan to do, what we have done, what we still need to do, like all the research that we've done when it comes to solidifying our family on paper.
Thank you for listening to our story told our way. If you like it, please share it with somebody else that you think will like it too. We have absolutely loved the outpouring of support and everybody who has watched our episode so far, and we are thrilled to be able to continue sharing our story with you.
If you like this episode, please don't forget to like it, rate it, subscribe, and we'll see you next time on
MetaMoms.